I'm here now with our Hoops insider, Jeff Goodman. And Jeff, we've been talking about Old Dominion going to the tournament, but how about we talk to the guy who has led them to the tournament, and that is head coach Jeff Jones. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I know it has been busy for you. We appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure. Glad to be with you guys.
Can we just talk about the last few days for you? I mean, you win the regular season, you win the tournament, you know that you are going to the NCAA tournament, and then you get to sit there with all your guys yesterday and hear your name announced. What has this last few days been like for you and for your guys who have never experienced this before?
Well, it's been great. Obviously, the manner in which we won the conference tournament, we had a couple of nail biters in the quarters and semis, and it winning by 6 points in the championship game, that was almost like a blowout. But then having to turn around and get back home, we had some difficulties with our flights, and I think we had 5 or 6 different flights getting everybody back to Norfolk, trying to get everybody back in time for a watch party for the selection show last night. So everything's been in a rush, but it's great. I'm happy to be back, but I'm more than happy that our young guys on our basketball team have this opportunity. It's really special, and we're excited.
Jeff, as a reporter, I'm supposed to be objective, right? I can't be objective with you after everything you've gone through, fighting cancer, and watching you at the end of the game and the emotion that you displayed. It was tough. I think it was tough for everybody in the country to watch that. What was it like for you? What were those emotions you were feeling at that point?
Everything was all jumbled together. My thoughts and emotions. Number one, just being very happy to be the Conference USA champion and go to the NCAA tournament. We'd been fighting and had come close, but we hadn't crossed that threshold in the last 6 years. So finally being able to do that, that was a great feeling. And then looking out there and seeing the joy, our guys jumping around and dancing around. I love this group. They've worked hard. They've earned everything that they've gotten and achieved, and seeing them so happy, that was overwhelming. And then, the cancer stuff, it's been a great year, but it hasn't been an easy year. Dealing with some of the things that the side effects and all of that, and just kind of getting to this point, it was an emotional moment, and I just kind of took a minute to collect myself, but it was great, and we couldn't be happier to be participating.
I mean, and we couldn't be happier for you. I've got chills just thinking about it. And you've been such an incredible model and such an inspiration for all of us who have been able to cover you this season. And we are so happy to see you in the NCAA tournament. You talked about how much you love this group. You got 2 great seniors that are leaders, BJ Stith, Ahmad Kaver. How do you feel about, what are you telling these guys who have this leadership and have been such a force for your team but have never experienced this? You, as someone who has been there plenty of times, what are you telling your team about what to expect with all the extra attention, all the extra pressure? How do you go about handling that with them?
We simply say, don't worry about all that other stuff. It really doesn't matter. Before Saturday's championship game, we said 40 more minutes. We don't have to do anything special. We don't have to do anything different. Keep being the same. Stay in character. We play for 40 minutes. We compete. We grind. Sometimes it's really ugly. We're not the best basketball team from an offensive perspective. I think the best thing that our kids do is compete. I don't want them to be out of character and try to do anything different. Just keep being themselves. That's been good enough all year long. Now, maybe against Purdue, we need to do it at a higher level. Hopefully we can, make a few shots, because I doubt that we're going to hold them in the 40s or 50s. But we're going to compete. That part of it, that's not a concern at all.
Yeah, Carson Edwards is a pretty prolific scorer, Jeff. I don't know how much you've had a chance to watch him throughout the year, because you've probably been focused more on your own team and your own league.
Right.
But How much have you had a chance to see of him, and what do you know about Purdue and Carson Edwards?
Well, obviously he's a great player and the guy that puts up a lot of numbers for them. But they are much more than just him. And the kid Eifert, we've talked to some people, and he's kind of the guy. He's the guy that makes them go. And Harm's inside, is a talented big man. I think, even though Edwards is averages the 23 points a game or whatever it is, I think they're a very balanced team, and they're going to play 10 guys, so they're a good basketball team. They aren't one guy, and we've got to make sure that we do a great job of recognizing that. We can't just go out there and say, okay, stop Edwards. We've got to make sure that we do what we've done all year long, and try to be really, really solid at the defensive end, and try not to beat ourselves.
Oh, Coach, you talked about being able to block out some of the noise. I think that there are a lot of people who are picking you to upset Purdue, including this guy right here, and myself. Absolutely. So how do you, over these next few days, do you, having done this so many times, try to block all of that out, or do you use it for motivation with your team? How do you approach that now that everyone's talking about you?
Well, there's a lot of noise out there one way or another all the time, and you can either listen to that and it's not very, very productive, or you can focus on the things that are important. And we're going to try to focus on the things that are important to us that at least will give us a chance to pull off an upset. With our basketball team, having played 3 games in 3 days, 3 taxing games in 3 days, and then traveling back yesterday, we're going to practice today, but we're not going to do a whole lot from a physical standpoint. We're going to make sure that we're very familiar with Purdue and their personnel. But tomorrow will be our big work day, and really get after it and try to get in the right mindset. And then we'll have an opportunity on Wednesday to not long but strong is our thing. So we want to compete, but not go too long. One thing I've found in tournament basketball is that oftentimes coaches try to do too much. You're here, you want to be at your best. And so my main concern is that physically and mentally we're fresh and excited and ready to go.
Well, Coach, I know you got a lot of game planning to do to meet that schedule. We just very much appreciate you taking the time to chat with us here today, and we will be rooting for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Enjoy.
Good being with you guys.
Thanks.